Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the CBL X's and O's podcast for season 2023. I'm sitting down to preview what will be round 7 in the Gippsland conference today, and round 7 is going to be a big one. We've got some top of the table teams playing each other, which is going to potentially start to shape our ladder for both the men's and the women's competitions. Now, let's start with the men's competitions, and we're going to start with Lakes Entrance taking on Morwell on Saturday night. This is 9th versus 10th, and it is going to be a great game. It's not going to have too much of an impact on the top four with the ladder, but between these two teams, it's going to be a great games. And obviously, Chris Fields from the Pelicans will be looking to continue his shooting form that we've seen recently, and for the Magic, Jordan Canavan's going to be trying to continue shooting that 20-plus game that he has for the last couple of weeks. So this game is going to be a cracker, and we look forward to seeing the results from that one. We'll then come back to Traralgon, who are hosting Wonthaggi, which is the top of the table. This is going to shake up the top four. We've got the Traralgon T-Birds sitting in 5th, and the Wonthaggi Coasters sitting in 2nd. Now, both these teams have got some firepower. For the Coasters, we've got Jet Garnham and Will Mortimer. So Jet's currently sitting 2nd in the league leading scorer race. And then we've got, for Traralgon, we've got Zach Bazina and Cody Timmel. So them two matchups are going to be crackers. And who knows which way this is going to go, but potentially it's going to start to shape someone's season and looking to lock a top 4 spot in for either of these teams. The Warriors, Pakenham, then welcome the Sonics into Cardinia Life. And, Pakenham really need to get the W here because they're just hanging on to the touch with that top 4 position. And I know the young Sonics in, Jake Hutchins, Harper Fraser, and Zach Felsberg will be looking to try and get in there and take their 2nd win for this season. So that game is going to be another sensational game. We've then got Mafra, who are on the road, having a road trip this weekend. They're going to, on Saturday night, Southern Penn to take on the Sharks. And Sam Whelan's going to be wanting to do all he can for the Eagles to ensure they walk out of there with the W and put themselves in 6 wins, which is nearly going to potentially lock them into a top 4 position come finals. On Sunday, the Moe Meteors, top of the table, undefeated Meteors, host the up-and-coming Currumborough Wildcats. Now, unfortunately for the Wildcats, it looks like their season is pretty much done. They're not going to make finals. However, they've got this game where they can knock off the undefeated Meteors and potentially give them their first L for the season. And if that happens, it's going to shake the ladder up, that's for sure. So I know Austin Shalley, our league leading scorer currently, is going to be trying to do all he can to put the ball in the bucket, and we've seen some big scores from him. So looking forward to seeing the result of that game. Southern Penn then back it up on Sunday with another home game, taking on the Traralgon T-Birds, who are coming off that tough game Saturday night against the Coasters. So, if they can, Traralgon will be wanting to at least split the weekend 1-1. They really need two wins to stay in touch with that top 4. But as a minimum, a 1-1 split for the T-Birds is going to be required, and it's going to be a tough trip down to Southern Penn. Their team there, they're ticking along okay. They probably haven't got the wins that they probably should have on the ladder, but come the end of the season, this is where they might get a couple of wins. So we are looking forward to seeing that one unfold. And then Mafra are traveling down to Warragul to take on the Warriors, and this is going to be a cracker. We've got 4th versus 3rd. This is going to potentially decide a head-to-head position on the ladder come the end of the season. And, both teams will be wanting that win because whoever wins will not have to probably take on the first place Moe Meteors, who are looked to have pretty much signed their position up for top of the ladder. So both these teams will be having a cracker of a game. And I know, Jordan Gukia is in some fine form for the Warriors, and he'll be doing all he can to stop Sam Whelan and the Eagles coming in and walking out of there with a W. The Wonthaggi Coasters then on Sunday are hosting the Lakes Entrance Pelicans. The Pelicans will be looking to try and get another win this season. So potentially Saturday night could put them to 2. And if they can get a win on Sunday, that would be 3 wins for the season, which would be, the Pelicans would be seeing is potentially a successful season. So far, they're in a little bit of form. They beat the Canberra Wildcats last week. So it's going to be an interesting game, and especially the Coasters coming off Saturday night against Traralgon. They don't want to be taking this one too lightly, and they'll need to make sure they can back up and get the win on Sunday. We then move across to the women's side of the fixture, and Lakes Entrance haven't been able to get a win this season, and they'll be welcoming Morwell into the youth and rec centre in Lakes Entrance. And this is an opportunity for Lakes Entrance to potentially get a win for the season. Morwell are in a little bit of form. They've won their 2 games recently. And Emily Scolders and Abby Noblet are in fine form. So it will be tough for the Pelicans, but it is possible depending on who more travel down to Lakes Entrance. So this is going to be an interesting game between 8th and 11th. We then go to Traralgon, which is going to be the place to be on Saturday night. We've got the cracker men's game, but we've also got a cracker women's game with the T-Birds second on the ladder taking on the Coasters, who are 3rd. Sammy Labros will be wanting to do all she can for the T-Birds to ensure they get that W and hold on to that second spot. And Grace McRae and Eva Garnham will be doing what they can for the Coasters because they want to keep on that winning list. They don't want to get that second loss for the season, which potentially will push them back into the pack that are fighting for them last few positions in the women. So Traralgon is the place to be Saturday night with 2 really good games of basketball. The Sonics are going to Cardinia Life to take on the Pakenham Warriors, and this is going to be an interesting game. It's 6 versus 9. Obviously, Pakenham sitting in 6th. It just probably doesn't do justice of the season they've had. They've had a significant improvement on last season. They've got 5 wins, 3 losses. 2 games to go, including this one. It's going to be a cracker. Pakenham are knocking on the door to be having a final spot this year. And with the grand final being announced to be held in Pakenham now, the Warriors have got a little bit more juice to take. They want to be, making that grand final because it's going to be in front of what would be a home crowd for them. So they'll be doing everything in their power to potentially make the grand final. And the Southern Pen Sharks are welcoming Maffra into their home venue. And Southern Pen, unfortunately, haven't been able to get that win this season so far. They have only played 6 games, so they've still got 4 to go. They've got 2 this weekend and 2 in round 8, which is going to be a cracker. So the Eagles, though, they need to make sure they go in here and walk out of there with the W. They need 2 wins this weekend to ensure that they maintain and pretty much hold their position in the top 4. It is a battle for 3rd and 4th at the moment with, the top 2 spots probably nearly locked in. Not saying they're fully locked in, but they're pretty close to being locked in. So Maffra need to continue on their winning ways. And again, they got a tough fixture. They got 4 games still to play. So anything can happen there. On Sunday, the undefeated Wildcats travel into Maui to take on the Meteors. And boy, oh boy, this is going to be an interesting game. Maui need to continue winning. They're on a 5-3 record currently with only 2 games left to play. So a loss in this game would put them to 5-4, and it really puts them in the middle of the pack. They can get over the Wildcats and give the Wildcats their first loss this season. It's going to make it a very interesting and easier race for Maui to make the top 4. So this game is going to be ladder defining, that's for sure. And potentially a loss here to Maui is nearly going to knock them out of the top 4. So I know the Anderson girls for Caranborough will be doing all they can to make sure they continue that undefeated record and walk out of Maui Leisure Centre with a W. The Traralgon T-Birds, again, travelling down to Southern Pen on Sunday along with their men. It's going to be a tough battle for the Sharks, backing it up from playing the 4th place Eagles on Saturday night to playing the 2nd place T-Birds on Sunday. It's a tough ask for Southern Pen, but it is doable. They are on their home court. It'd be interesting to see who travels with for Traralgon on the Sunday after having that tough game on Saturday night. So again, depending on who travels for Traralgon, this could be the Sharks' opportunity to get their first win for the season. Mafra are taking on Warragul at Warragul on Sunday in the women's, and this is going to be a cracker. It's 4th versus 7th. Beck Orwin's in a little bit of form for the Warragul Warriors. They just haven't been able to finish the games off with a W. They've got 3 for the season, but that's just not going to be enough to get them into finals. Whereas Mafra, they win both games this weekend. It puts them at 6-2 and really puts them in the hunt to ensuring they finish in the top 4. Wonthaggi welcomed Lakes Entrance into Bass Coast on Sunday, and it's 3rd versus 11th. Both teams playing Saturday night. Both teams have tough matchups Saturday night, with the Coasters taking on Traralgon and the Pelicans hosting the Magic. So it's going to be an interesting game. The Coasters won't be taking the Pelicans too lightly because, the Pelicans will be out for their first victory for the season if they can't get it on Saturday night. So it's going to be a very tough battle, and it's looking forward to seeing how the game unfolds, that's for sure, and how it's potentially going to ruffle our ladder positions in the women. So that is our round 7 preview this week. And I'm looking forward to seeing all our spectators in the stands this weekend supporting our associations that we love and support. There's plenty of games of basketball this weekend, 16, I believe, in Gippsland. So it's going to be a cracker.